This morning, we're going to do something a little different in our sermon. We are going to have our State of the Church address. You know, we do like the State of the Union and find out how things are going. We're going to do the State of the Church, but we're also going to do some vision casting this morning. And so I want to share a little illustration about vision. In the suburbs of San Jose, California, there's an interesting kind of tourist attraction. It's a house that was built by the heiress of the Winchester rifle fortune. In 1884, a wealthy widow named Sarah L. Winchester began a 38-year construction project guided by a superstitious fear. Evidently, Miss Winchester went to a medium, and the medium told her that when the building was finished, when the mansion was done being built, something terrible would happen to her because of her family's legacy, because her family built the guns that won the West and took so many lives. So, in order to ensure that that never happened, Sarah Winchester made sure the project never finished. For 38 years, she kept carpenters working 24 hours a day on this home. This mansion came to be filled with so many unexplained oddities that it is now a tourist attraction. There are staircases to nowhere. There are doors that when you open them, you fall out a window to the outside of the house. There are walls in the middle of bathrooms. There are windows inside the house. There were no plans, there were no blueprints. When a project would finish, she would just commission the next project to try to prevent the disaster that she was afraid was coming on her. This house has 160 rooms, 3 elevators, 40 staircases, and 47 fireplaces. It is the most bizarre, purposeless design we've ever seen. These random features reflect the excessive creativity, the energy, and the expense that was spent by this woman to prevent disaster in her life. The Winchester house is a picture of what our lives and our churches can look like when there is no vision. Lots of things happening, lots of work being done, lots of activity, but very little progress. Just because we're busy doesn't mean we're healthy. That's true for our church, and that's true for our personal lives. Anybody feel really busy lately? I do. I'm exhausted. Does it mean I'm healthy just because I'm doing? Proverbs 29:18 says in the King James Version, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." The Message says it like this: if the people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. Doesn't that kind of sound like what was happening at the Winchester house? Lots of work, lots of doing, but lots of stumbling. This is true for the church, but it's true for our own personal lives. If a husband and a wife don't have a vision for their marriage, it's going to feel a lot more like chaos than peace. If you don't have a vision for your finances, it'll always feel like they come in and they go away. In fact, there's another verse in Proverbs that says, if we don't have a vision for our finances, it's like our money grows wings and flies away like an eagle. How many of you feel like that's the reality in your financial life? No matter how much comes in, it never quite feels like it's enough, and it's just gone. If we don't have a vision for our kids, we'll find ourselves as parents constantly doing, but never being. We'll find ourselves always busy, always on the move, always on to the next practice, the next thing, the next activity, but we won't find ourselves feeling like we're a family. We'll feel more like a taxi driver, going from activity to activity to activity. If you don't have a vision for your career, you can find yourself in one of two different places. One, you may find yourself stuck in a dead-end job, afraid to move because what if something bad happens? So you just accept the mediocre and you stay there. Or on the other hand, you might find yourself constantly changing jobs because you're never satisfied, because you have no vision for what you're trying to build in your career. The list goes on and on and on. Where there is no vision, the people perish. As a church, we need a vision. We need to have a plan. We need to have an idea. We need to know where God is leading us, and then we need to partner with him on that mission. Vision is the best definition I can find is it's a picture of a preferred future. It's the future we want to see. It's the picture of the future we want to have. Given by God, that's important. It's not our future, it's the future that God has for us that guides our steps. So let me say that again. A vision is a clear picture of a preferred future given by God that guides our steps today. Visions help us know what to pursue, what things we should do. It helps us know what to avoid, because sometimes the most important word you can ever learn is no. Because here's the reality, especially, listen, as a pastor, I feel this all the time. There are 1,000 million good ideas. There are so many good ideas. Almost every idea that comes across my table, every email I get from whatever church, organization, planting, conference, they're all great ideas. But we can't do all of them. It's so easy to get so busy doing that we're not actually progressing. We're so busy doing that we're not listening to where God is trying to lead us. It also helps us to know what to prioritize. What are the things that get first place? Now, here's the thing. Vision does not happen in a vacuum. It's not something that comes just from the pastor. It's not even something that comes from the leader. In fact, it comes from each one of us. Our vision is not something that you can take from one church and plant it into the next. You have to see and understand where God is already leading you. It's not something that's taught, it's something that's caught. We understand the vision because we see what God is building. A vision is strongest when the church doesn't need to memorize it, they just feel it in their souls. They just know this is the kind of church we are. It's a recognition of what God is already doing and aligning ourselves with his plans. So this morning, I want to take a few minutes and I want to look back at what God has been doing in 2025. I want to celebrate some wins. I want to remind us of some things, because as I went through this list, and I'm sure I forgot things, so feel free to remind me. Okay, after church. Try not to yell at me during the sermon. Unless it's positive reinforcement. I like that. But remind me if I missed something. But I went through this list. I went through my phone, and I scanned through all these pictures I have, and I was like, oh, I forgot all about that. Oh, wow, that was such an amazing experience. Oh, God, I forgot about that amazing thing you did this year. How quick we are to forget. So let's look back at what God did this year. Let's celebrate together. And then we're going to take some time and we're going to start looking forward at what God is building. Amen? You with me? All right, so first off, we did some exciting sermon series this year. We started off the year with Beyond Belief. We talked about what discipleship really means. That it's not just believing in Jesus, but it's doing what he says. It's walking the walk. It's walking with him daily through life. Well, then we went into our Lent series, which was Empty to be Filled, a series on fasting. That was a challenge for many of us, an opportunity to assess the kind of things that we were consuming, not just food, but also things, the things of this world, media, the things that are capturing our time. Again, if you don't have a vision, those things just happen to you. You just pick up the carton of ice cream and start eating. But if you have a vision for your health and vision for your well-being, you're willing to say no to those things. Sometimes. And then sometimes you eat the ice cream. Okay? It's okay. We did a series called Her Story in History, where we looked at 4 women who had an amazing, powerful impact on the history of the church and the kingdom of God. Then we did You Are the Church, where we looked at the early church in Acts and talked about what it means to belong to an authentic community of people, loving and serving together. Then we did 13 weeks in the parables of Jesus, looking at these stories of his upside-down kingdom. Hopefully a series that challenged you. If they didn't, you might need to rewatch those and let yourself be challenged, because Jesus meant to challenge you when he told those stories. And then we just finished our series in Ruth, this very powerful story of God redeeming his people in the midst of struggles. Amen? This year we had 3 nights of worship that were extremely powerful experiences, and we had a hymn sing where a group of people gathered together and sang some of those old classic hymns. During the season of Lent, 40 people from our church recorded daily devotionals, and we sent them out to our congregation to help you guys through that season, to kind of prepare your hearts for Easter. This year, we began averaging about 95 people in person here per Sunday. That's a 7% growth over last year. And our online audience grew up to 42 per week, which is a 35% growth online. We almost doubled our subscribers on YouTube this year. Not really sure how that happened. But in today's day and age, in this world that we live in, almost everyone, before they walk through the doors of our church, they've already watched us online. They've checked us out. They've listened to see what kind of church are we. It used to be the side door, the back door into the church, but now it's the front door. And people are finding us, and they're connecting with us, and they're chatting. Right now on YouTube, people are chatting, building community, authentic, real community. As strange as that sounds to some of us, it's community. Some of those people also join us on our Tuesday night Zoom Bible study. People from all over the country and outside of the country get together and study God's Word together. Just to encourage you, and listen, we are not here today to count nickels and noses, okay? We're not here to talk about money and butts and seats, because that's not a sign of church growth. That's not the only thing that matters when you're talking about church growth. The rest of this stuff is what matters. But I do want to encourage you. 2 of the last 3 Sundays were our biggest attendance of the year. So God is doing something. He's drawing people. So keep showing up and invite your friends. Be a part of this. Sunshine Island, under the leadership of Christy, has averaged over 20 kids a week all year. And those kids' lives are being changed and transformed. If you have never gotten a chance to see Christy interact with these kids, the love that she has for them, the way that she just can speak to each and every one of them, no matter where they're from, no matter what they're going through. She knows their stories. She knows what's going on at school. She knows what's going on in their lives. She connects with them. She connects with our volunteers. She's an amazing person. Be praying for Christy. Pray for our entire Sunshine Island team. We could not do it without our volunteers who show up every single Sunday. If you have a heart for children, let me tell you, there will never be something that will give you more fulfillment than serving in kids ministry. not singing on stage, not preaching the message, nothing will fill your heart more with joy than serving these kids. So if you feel like maybe my life needs a little bit of joy, I need an infusion, all right? I need that IV line just direct to my soul. Sign up to serve in our kids' ministry because you will find joy. You'll find a little bit of chaos. You'll find joy. A couple weeks ago, the kids were screaming over here. By the way, I just want to say, I found out that's my dad's fault. That was his first Sunday serving over there. This guy. I had people come to me and apologize. Some of the grown-ups came, and they're like, hey, we heard that we were a little loud. We're sorry. I said, never apologize for kids having fun at church. If anything, we'll get a little bit louder to match your energy next Sunday, all right? All right? The kids get to be loud. This year, we were blessed to have guest speakers, Ryan Otto, Willie Sneed from Palm Beach Christian Prep School, Unique Huff from Care Portal and 4Kids, and David K. I'm not even going to try to say his name. It's been too many months since I practiced. David K. came and he joined us, and he brought his gift of flute playing along with him. He shared his mission, his life's passion for Compassion International. And I know some of us here in this room began sponsoring kids through Compassion International that day. So because we brought in a guest speaker and because he shared his gift with us, children are now having their needs met in other countries. Do you see how the gospel works? Do you see what God is building? This year we had 2 baptisms. We had my daughter Abigail, and we had Twan, who happens to be here today. So that's exciting. He's back. Back from beautiful, sunny Purdue. What town is Purdue in? West Lafayette. Yeah, West Lafayette, where the sun never shines. That's the reality there. On Grad Sunday, we celebrated the graduations of Nick Schwindeman, Javier Reyes, and Christina Daniel. We had multiple women's events this year. We had a meet and greet and an encouraging card-making event. We have another one coming up in just a few weeks that you all should come to. It's going to be an amazing time of just fellowship and love. We had a men's gathering where we got super spiritual. We ate barbecue. We sat around a pool, and we played with a little frou-frou dog. It was amazing. We had so much fun just connecting. What I love most about that picture is there's a guy in that picture who's about 17 years old, and there's another guy in that picture who's a little bit older than that. And those 2 people and everybody in between were able to connect and love one another and share with one another and share stories. We talked about our jobs. We talked about life. We talked about things that God has done for us. It was an amazing, amazing time. Our youth group, led by Jacob and Michaela Collins, has been thriving this year. They have shifted to kind of just building community with the kids. They're just gathering the kids together, building relationships. And we have seen every time we do an event, it's like new kids start showing up and connecting. We've done youth game nights. We've done movie nights. We've done Halloween parties. We've done all sorts of cool stuff. They've had the kids over to their house on multiple occasions just to be and belong. They take the kids out and do things. And our youth group, they're connecting and they're growing together. We had a fall festival where hundreds of people turned out onto our property to be loved and cared for, to just be shown that they matter. We, at that fall festival, had Care Portal there. They were sharing about foster care, and they had people sign up from our community to begin the foster care process. Not through us, not anything that we've done. They don't even go to our church. They were just in our community, and they met Care Portal that night, and they said, you know what? In the midst of a trunk or treat, let me start the process to take a child into my home and give them a place to belong. We handed out books that night. We handed out over 250 books to kids. We had some kids that were older than my kids who said, I don't know how to read. Can I still take one of these? And we gave them like 6. At our Easter service this year, we had over 180 people in attendance, and we had over 60 kids come to our egg hunt after church. We did a kids' water day that we had to battle the rain a little bit, but still the kids showed up and had a blast. We went to Faith and Family Night at Roger Dean Stadium as a group, community of us gathered together and watched a baseball game, because you know what? You can do that. Church is more than singing songs. It's more than praying prayers. It's more than doing Bible studies. It's doing life together. And so we went and we did life together. At our promotion Sunday, where we pray over our kids before they go back to school, we had over 45 kids right here in the front of this room that we prayed over before they went back to school, back into the mission field. Before they went back into that place, we prayed for them, we blessed them, we encouraged them, and we equipped them. During Angel Tree last Christmas, we served over 35 children from 15 different families, giving Christmas gifts to kids from their families, from their parents and their grandparents and their aunts and uncles who are incarcerated, so they know they are loved. Through that experience, we got to meet some amazing kids. Some of these kids, in one of these pictures, these kids are, they're artists. They were telling us about their art, and they go to school for art, and they have so many big dreams and big ideas, and they need to know that they are loved and that they matter to God and to us. A few of those families have visited our church, and they have come when we've done special events. And I still connect with them, I text them, I reach out and pray with them on the phone. We also provided Christmas gifts for the moms of Parent Life, for the moms and the children here in this church. Here on our property, Cross, a mobile food pantry, sets up every Saturday in our parking lot, and they feed over 1,000 people a month here in our site alone. That's 12,000 people that receive food right here in our parking lot every single Saturday. This year, we have given out twice as many blessing bags, at least, than we did last year. We have given out over 400 blessing bags this year. These bags are done by the donations of many of you. We're doing a special collection right now, and we just continue to be blessed by your generosity, so thank you. These are being handed out. There have been instances now where I've heard that people have pulled up to an intersection to give someone a blessing bag, and they've said, I already have one. We're making a difference in our community, people. Through our church and through the generosity of all of you, we've been able to meet people's benevolence needs. These are when somebody can't pay a bill, when they can't get groceries, when they have things that life is just piling up a little too fast, a little too hard. We've been able to step in and offer something to help in those times of struggle. We have a little free library right here in front of our church that the city of Greenacres continues to just, anytime I call, they bring over boxes of books so that we can supply books to our community so people can read. And we, just so you guys know, we might throw a Bible or two in there every once in a while so that people can get the word. Julia Santa led an amazing couples communication class for us back in May. And we hope to do another one very, very soon because, listen, we all need that. Every couple, I don't care how good you've got it, you could learn to talk better. You guys, you could learn to communicate a little better. Except for me and my wife, we're perfect. We got it. But everybody else, you know, she's not in here. She's not in. We're going to go to the next one. At our Christmas Eve service last year, we had over 80 people come out to our candlelight service and join us that night, which was the most we've had in years. It was beautiful. It was a time of just connecting, singing those songs. We're going to have that in just a few weeks as we celebrate Christmas, an opportunity to, the night before Christmas, the night before the chaos and the presents and all that kind of stuff, and your kids complaining because they didn't get the thing they wanted, and your husband complaining because he didn't get the thing he wanted. Get together and center your hearts on the light, the hope of Jesus Christ. All right. What does this tell us? All these things, all these exciting things that have happened, what does it tell us? Does it just tell us that we've been busy? I hope not. I hope we can see what God is building here. God is building an authentic community, a community of love, a community where people can come in and be loved and cared for. 2 years ago, when I was brought in as lead pastor, we talked about the idea of building a healthy church. We felt like we needed to just get our feet back under us, coming out of COVID and all the disruption that caused for all of us. We all just needed to get healthy. I know in my own personal life, I just needed to get healthy again because life was crazy. We shared back then that healthy things grow. Healthy things grow, but more importantly than that, healthy things produce good fruit. Because growth is not the sign of health. Good fruit is. In Scripture, it's not just that we're growing. Jesus says that we should be producing good fruit in our lives. I shared 2 years ago the illustration of genetically modified organisms. Who here loves some genetically modified organisms? And it's just, when I go to the grocery, I just can't wait. You can go to the store and you can buy a carrot that weighs as much as your head. And then you go to Whole Foods and you find this dirty, brownish-looking carrot that doesn't have any of those GMOs mixed into it. And there are definitely times where I prefer the big old orange heavy carrot because I just want a big meal. But that's not as healthy as the pure, homegrown, cared-for carrot that just came out of the dirt. There's a difference. I notice the biggest. I'm a big mashed potatoes guy. So when Thanksgiving rolls around, we have been known to go hard on the mashed potatoes in my family. My first year married, my wife had to do 2 pots of potatoes, 15 pounds. And we were not having a big family thing. It was just kind of like 8 of us getting together. But I said, I need my mashed potatoes. So when we buy potatoes, I like the big ones. When we go to Nashville, there's a restaurant we always go to because they have these GMO potatoes. They have to be. I don't know. These things can't grow in nature. But they're split in half and they fill a plate. And then they load it up with cheese and chives and all the good stuff. And I clog my arteries, and for 6 months I have to, eat healthy because of my trip to Nashville. But when I'm home, I know there are better things for me. I know those potatoes, even though they're smaller, those ones that have been grown in fresh soil, that haven't been poisoned with different fertilizers and insecticides and all these things, I know, deep down, I know that's better for me. Yeah, you can grow something really fast, shooting it up with hormones, giving it a bunch of Miracle Grow, but is it healthy? Is the fruit it produces healthy? So as a church, we choose to take things slow. We choose to cultivate this garden God's way. We could do a bunch of advertisements. We could preach sermons that just tickled everybody's ears and made sure we're not too tough. We don't preach on things like the parables because, those really kind of rub people the wrong way sometimes. But we choose to preach the truth and preach honestly about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And he's growing our church. We have seen the fruit of a healthy church this year. But honestly, more than any of those pictures or these stories can share, it's the stuff that happens behind the scenes that really tells me we're healthy. It's the friendships that are being formed. The love that is being shared in this room, the stories I hear from people about the love they've found in this community is amazing. I have people who have told me recently, I come to this church because I've gone to other churches and nobody ever took the time to learn my name. And by the second week I showed up here, people were coming up to me and calling me by name. We had a guy who was coming who went on vacation for a couple weeks. And when he showed back up, he said 4 or 5 people came right over to me and asked where I'd been and wanted to make sure I was okay. He said, I've never felt that anywhere else. I've never felt that kind of love, that I matter, that I belong. It's in the behind-the-scenes stories of the people who've come to accept Jesus this year, who've begun their journey or maybe just recommitted their lives to him. They've taken steps to walk with Christ. It's the stories that we don't get to share every day, like chains of addiction being broken in people's lives. People who've given up the bottle or the pills and chosen to walk in newness of life. It's the marriages that have begun to heal in this building. We don't get to parade them up front, but deep down, it's because they're here. It's because they're being loved. It's because they have support. It's because, you know what? Sometimes what you need in your marriage most is some friends who will just tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I have a bunch of friends who will tell me what I want to hear. I go to the ones that tell me what I need to hear when I'm struggling. Because in the end, I know that's going to make something healthier. It's the support for people who are hurting. There have been so many times in this year where I've called someone and I felt like I'm calling too late. I find out they're struggling, I find out they're hurting, I find out they're going through something. I call them and I say, hey, I'm really sorry I haven't gotten a hold of you sooner. And they're like, no, it's okay. I've had like 45 people text me and call me over the last week. It's kind of driving me nuts. But I'm loved. Like, you don't need to worry about it. My family's got me covered. It's the authentic faith of people who are going through the fire. And instead of letting it melt them and burn them down, they're trusting God in the midst of those flames. They're saying, I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't know why my life is difficult. I don't know why all these bad things keep happening, but I'm going to keep walking in faith. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep coming to Bible study. I'm going to keep coming to worship. I'm going to keep coming into community instead of pulling away, which is what all of us do when we're hurting and struggling. It's second nature to us as people to pull away when we're hurting, but instead they're leaning in to community and to the kingdom. This week we had our men's Bible study on Thursday morning, and if you're able to come, we meet 9 o'clock right here in the building. We'd love to have you join us if your work schedule allows it. It's an amazing time to just gather together with a bunch of guys and talk about the Word. But we were talking, and I was looking at that group of guys, and there was so much just uncertainty and discomfort in that group. Almost everyone in that group was going through something with their jobs. Either they're looking for a job, or they just found a job after a multi-year search, or they keep applying places, but things in their past are preventing them from letting those doors be opened. We sat in that room and we talked about what is God doing? Why doesn't he just throw open the doors? Why doesn't he just rain blessing down on us? That's what we need. We just started sharing our struggles. We just started talking about it. We just started walking through it together. And one of the guys, we were talking about our church, and he joked that it feels like we have a sign that says, if you're hurting and you're struggling, come here. Because it feels like everybody who walks through these doors is going through something. It feels like everybody's coming and they're hurting, they're struggling, they're in need of help. And I said, I don't think there's a sign, not that I know of. We're not running an ad campaign online. There's nothing like that. It's just God is drawing that to us. And people are coming and they're finding hope and comfort and love and support here. We are a church for hurting people. We are a community that loves deeply. Jenny Riley always says to me, if you can't find love at Church in the Palms, you can't find it anywhere. Right, Jenny? That is the truth. That is the vision. That is what God is building here. And we're not there. We have not arrived. But we can see what God is doing. So let's get on board with it. Let's join his movement. Let's partner with God in what he's already leading us to. I don't have to tell any of you that we're a loving church because you feel it. It's not a surprise when you hear these stories because you know that's the kind of people we are, because you've felt it and you've experienced it in your own life. We are not perfect. We do not do everything right. There is a lot more that all of us can do, myself included, as we grow in our faith and our love for Jesus and as we grow together as a community. But in 2026, I see God continuing to build on this foundation of authentic faith, where people can come and they don't have to put on a mask. They don't have to pretend like everything's okay. We talked about that in our group Thursday, that it feels like you can come here and you can have a frown on your face, and that's okay. You're not going to be judged for it. You can come here and you can weep and you can mourn and you can cry, and you're not going to be told that you're lacking faith, or you just need to believe a little stronger and everything will be okay. We don't sugarcoat it, and we don't make you sugarcoat it, so you can be real here. The band's going to come forward. We're going to continue worshiping this morning because that's really the heart of everything we do. The heart of everything we do is worship. But our vision for 2026 and beyond, I'm going to have it be put up on the screen. We are becoming, not we have become, we have not arrived, but we are becoming an authentic, healthy community formed by the love of Jesus, brought together by the love of Jesus, not by race or political stances or ideas about how the world should run, but by Jesus, where people are transformed, which means we accept the fact that there is still work to be done. If you walk through these doors and you think you've got it all together, you've walked into the wrong church. None of us have arrived. None of us have made it. We are in process. I don't care if you've been a Christian for 75 years. God is still working on you. Where people are transformed into disciples who make disciples. We are multipliers. That is what Jesus calls us to be. When you become a disciple, you become a disciple maker. As you attend a Bible study, that's not the end of the journey for you. As somebody shows you love, that's not the end of the journey. The next step is for you to do the same for someone else. Watch what they do and do likewise. Follow us as we follow Christ. We're living out our call to love God, love others, and live the love. This year, in 2026, we have an opportunity to continue to step into the move of God. And I invite you to be a part of this. If you've been a part of it, well, great, because you're a part of what all the stories we've just told. But there's a place for you in all of this. And listen, God has brought you here this morning because he wants to add your gifts and your talents and your abilities and your love to ours. Our church is better with you. We're stronger with you. So the next time you wake up on a Sunday and you think, I don't need to be there, nobody will miss me, I promise you, God needs you here. He wants you here. Not so that we can mark you down on our attendance sheet, not so that we can get a few dollars out of your wallet. That doesn't matter. But so that you can meet the divine appointment that God has for you in this place. Somebody is going to walk through those doors who are going to need you. And you might think that you're the person who's in need, but you'll find out real quick that you have something to offer to someone else. Let God use your story. Let him use your gifts. Partner with us as we move into the new year. Let's stand together this morning and let's worship God. the God who is building and growing and creating a church that loves him, loves each other, and lives out that love every single day.